Welcome back to the deep dive. Our listener today has really handed us a serious philosophical task.
Mm-hmm.
We're navigating the pretty profound teachings in the back half of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4.
Yeah.
It's called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga.
And it really is a roadmap for living.
Yeah.
The sources you've given us, a rich stack of commentaries and modern talks, they lay out a really clear mission for us.
Right.
It's how do we, the busy modern person, how do we engage in all the action we need to in the world,
Yeah.
doing our jobs, raising families, all our duties, without getting caught up in the stress and the bondage of karma.
How do you find freedom while being fully engaged? We're
Exactly.
moving beyond just doing good work here
Yeah.
and into the mechanics of transcending action itself. It's about changing the source code of your consciousness.
That's a great way to put it.
So let's start at the cosmic level, because that seems to set the stage for everything else.
Yeah.
The sources really emphasize that the Creator established this fourfold order of creation, the Chaturvarnyam.
Yes, and what's absolutely crucial to get here is the basis of this order. It's based on guna, our inherent qualities or tendencies, and karma, the action we perform.
So the system is really outlining these four sort of necessary functions. You have knowledge, protection, and strength, commerce and finance, and then labor and service.
Right. It's an energetic blueprint for how society can operate efficiently. It's not about a rigid social structure based on birth, but about distributing duties according to people's natural capacities.
Okay, so it's a mechanism for the cosmos to run.
Precisely. And here's the paradox we really have to internalize. Even though the Creator is the author of this whole system, they remain the non-doer, the akarta.
The non-doer.
They started the action, but they are completely untouched by its results. And for you, the listener, understanding how to apply this duality, being the source of action but remaining untouched by the outcome, that is the central insight of this whole chapter.
And that distinction is the gap most of us fall into, right? We operate from this limited frame of I am a host, I am a mother. We get tied to these finite roles.
We live on the plane of the body, the deha, which just generates this fixed, narrow identity. But the teachings here are pushing us toward the expansive, universal self, Brahma.
And when a soul is self-realized, they operate from this Brahma perspective.
Yes, and the concept for that vision is Brahmarpanya.
Okay, break that down for us. What does that actually look like, moment to moment?
It means seeing the divine, Brahma, in every single component of an action. The sources describe it beautifully. The offering you make is Brahma, the thing you're offering is Brahma, the process, the fire it's offered into is Brahma, and the final goal is also Brahma.
So everything is sacred.
Everything.
So if you approach every little task, answering an email, folding laundry, with the idea that the tools, the material, and you, the doer, are all just aspects of the divine, it kind of removes the burden of success or failure.
It does. You're just facilitating a divine process. It's a complete shift from I consciousness to divine consciousness. And this vision brings us right to the principle of yajna.
Which we usually translate as sacrifice or ritual, and that sounds so archaic.
It does, but it's not just burnt offering, is it?
No.
Not at all. One commentary I was looking at uses this really powerful analogy that yajna is collective action for the welfare of society.
It's teamwork.
The ultimate form of teamwork, where every single person contributes their specific capacity, their ahuti, their offering to the collective good. And this collaborative duty, when you do it with the right inner attitude, is what purifies life. It's realizing you're part of an infinitely large team.
So if that's the ideal collective contribution, then the real deep dive is looking at all the different ways people can perform this duty. It seems to recognize that we all have different ways of purifying ourselves based on our natural tendencies.
Exactly. The text meticulously details all these different practices, from external generosity to, intensely focused internal mastery. These are the different paths available to you to stay connected to Brahma while living a full life.
Okay, so let's unpack these specific forms of yajna, these disciplines. What are the key categories?
Well, we can start with sense control. This is offering the objects of the senses, sound, sight, taste, everything into the fire of self-restraint.
So it's like actively managing your input stream.
You got it. You're basically preventing impurities from entering the mind by choosing what your eyes see, what your ears hear.
That is so relevant today. I mean, we are just constantly bombarded by a digital environment. Sense control in our world is essential just for mental survival.
Absolutely. It's curating your reality. But then others go even deeper into inner control. They offer all the actions of the senses and even the vital forces, the prana, into the fire of self-control. at Masayama Yoga.
So that's not just external restraint. That's constant internal house cleaning.
Continuous self-inquiry.
Yeah.
And then there's the most specific discipline, pranayama, or breath control, which is framed as a critical form of yajna.
Okay, but how does simply breathing purify the mind? Isn't that just a physiological thing?
Ah, that's where the technical definition is key. It's described as a precise offering. So the sources explain that prat is the upward current of vital energy, inhalation, and apana is the downward current, exhalation.
Mm.
The discipline is offering the outgoing breath into the incoming breath, or vice versa. The ultimate master is stopping both kumhak. The purification happens because you are consciously mastering the life force that connects your body and mind. It stabilizes the whole system.
Fascinating. So mastering the breath is like mastering the internal engine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving away from the physical, there's the duty of study swadhyaya yajna. This is an area where I think a lot of confusion comes up today. We all study constantly for work, for degrees. Is that the same thing?
The sources are very, very clear on this distinction. Swadhyaya yajna is about intellectual purification. It is not academic study for a livelihood like getting an MBA.
Right.
This is reading and reciting sacred texts, scriptures, philosophies, specifically to remove the impurities, the dos, from the mind and expand your consciousness.
So the purpose is transformation, not transaction. You're seeking wisdom to change you, not just to improve your resume.
Precisely. It's knowledge as a mirror, not as a tool. And then, of course, the most tangible form is material sacrifice, dravyamaya yajna. Offering wealth. It's necessary, but we need to see where it stands in the grand hierarchy.
That is the perfect segue. If we have all these different duties, material offerings, breath control, study, sense restraint, which one is truly superior? Where does all this action ultimately lead?
And the answer is absolutely unequivocal. Dravyamaya yajna, material sacrifice, is considered inferior to jnana yajna, the knowledge sacrifice.
Okay.
All actions, all duties, all these different forms of yajna, they all culminate and find their highest value in jhana, in pure knowledge.
That's a massive claim. Why is knowledge, which sounds so passive, the apex of active duty?
Because knowledge gets to the root cause of our bondage, ego and ignorance. The knowledge here is the realization that you are the non-doer, the akarta, just like the creator.
So it's like a fire.
Exactly. It's compared to a fire. Just as a blazing fire can reduce a mountain of wood to ash in an instant, the fire of knowledge burns away all karma.
So it's not that the action itself disappears, it's that the binding nature of the action is destroyed.
You got it. The moment you attain that true understanding, you are freed from expectation and bondage. You're no longer worried if the work succeeds or fails, because the knowledge that you're just a facilitator for universal energy has already purified the act.
And the sources have that amazing anecdote to illustrate this. The old man planting the mango tree.
It's such a simple, powerful lesson.
It really is.
He was planting trees, right? And he would likely never live to eat the fruit. And when someone asked him why he was doing it, he just replied that the trees whose fruit he enjoys were planted by others.
Ah.
That is action rooted in the knowledge of interdependence. He wasn't doing it for his personal ledger. He was fulfilling a duty based on a collective contribution across generations. That's jnana applied to action.
That's a profound perspective shift. But this raises the most practical question for anyone listening. If this ultimate, pure knowledge, Vishuddha is the goal, where do we find it? Especially if we're busy, like Arjuna on a battlefield.
And Lord Krishna gives the answer in these clear, necessary steps. This knowledge can't be found just by reading or, intellectual gymnastics. It has to be sought from a true guru, and it requires 3 specific, non-negotiable steps from the seeker.
3 conditions for seeking wisdom. It sounds like they're designed to kind of shatter the ego before the knowledge is even given.
They absolutely are. First is prostration, pranachpada. You have to approach the guru with humility, literally bowing down, surrendering the idea that you already know everything.
Oh.
This act dissolves the ego that prevents learning. Second is service, seva. You serve the guru. You act as their disciple. This means setting aside your personal agenda to embody their instruction. It tests your sincerity.
So service is proof that the humility is real. And the third?
Inquiry, pariprashana. You have to ask questions, but with deep sincerity and devotion, not with an attitude of challenging or testing the guru. It has to be a genuine thirst for truth.
Surrender, selfless action, sincere inquiry. It's the only way to open yourself up to it.
It is. But the transmission is only valuable if the source is pure, right? The guru themselves must be qualified.
And that's a huge challenge today.
It's the needle in the haystack. The sources stress two absolute qualifications for a true guru. They must be a learned proficient in the scriptures, Shasta Jnana. But crucially, they must also be self-realized, a tattvadarshi.
Someone who has directly experienced the truth.
Yes. The sources talk about seekers like Swami Vivekananda, who famously searched for a guru who had seen God. Theoretical knowledge isn't enough.
So the guru has to embody what they teach. Now, what about the student? Once you find this qualified teacher, what do you have to cultivate internally to absorb the wisdom?
Knowledge requires three internal conditions. First, faith, shuddha. And this isn't blind belief, it's conviction, a deep trust in the scriptures and the guru's words until you can experience them yourself.
Okay, trust.
Second, diligence, tatpar. You have to be constantly prepared, focused, putting in the effort every single day. And third, sense control, samyatendriya. You have to discipline the senses so the mind is stable, not constantly pulled away by distractions.
So these three together create the perfect, stable vessel for the knowledge to land in.
Exactly. And the sources have a very clear, very stark warning about the danger of doubt, Sanchya.
What happens if that faith isn't there?
One who lacks faith, shraddha, and is consumed by doubt, they will not find peace or happiness, not in this world and not in the next. Doubt is like a destructive acid. It just consumes the intellect.
Okay, so let's assume the seeker finds the right guru, they have the right attitude, the ego is surrendered. What's the ultimate reward? What happens once this knowledge is really attained?
The outcomes are, well, they're psychologically and spiritually transformative. First, the delusion, the moha, that binds you to the finite body and the temporary world. It just ends.
Right.
And second, and this is the pinnacle of it all, the seeker sees all beings within themselves, and they see all beings and themselves within the Supreme Self, within God.
The realization of unity. You are everything, everything is you, and everything is God.
It is. And the tablet gives this final dramatic promise here. Even if you were considered the most sinful, the papatam among all beings, this knowledge acts as a massive, unsinkable raft. It enables you to cross over the entire ocean of sin.
That's the ultimate freedom. And because this is all told to Arjuna, a warrior who is paralyzed by doubt right before a battle, the teaching has to end with a practical command, not just a philosophy.
Absolutely. The discourse concludes with this powerful final instruction. It's directed right at the listener, the one who's struggling with their duty.
What is it?
Use the sword of knowledge, Jana, to cut the doubt that's living in your heart. Establish yourself firmly in karma yoga. And then the rallying cry, stand up, Tihabharata, and perform your duty with this new perspective.
That's a phenomenal summation of this chapter. The whole lesson is that realizing the Supreme Self, it doesn't require you to abandon your path or your home.
Not at all.
It just requires changing the inner perspective, seeing Brahma in every act, and staying stable in your duty.
It's an inside job.
This has been a deeply enriching deep dive. For you listening, here's our quick recap. Jnana Yajna, knowledge sacrifice, is superior to all others. This knowledge is obtained through disciplined service, humility, and sincere inquiry to a self-realized guru. And the ultimate goal is seeing Brahma everywhere and destroying the doubt that binds you.
And the central nugget to carry forward is this. The knowledge that frees you from karma is not about what you do. It's about the consciousness with which you do it. The physical action is just the external manifestation of that inner offering.
So let's leave you with this provocative thought. Based on that commentary that views service, yajna, as kind of debt repayment, the source material talks about the 4 debts every person owes to the sages, to the gods or natural forces, to our ancestors, and to society. So what if you were to fundamentally change your perspective and view all of your daily efforts, your job, your parenting, your community work, not as tasks for personal gain, but simply as repaying those 4 essential universal debts? How profoundly would that shift your motivation and free you from the fear of results? Something to chew on until our next deep dive.